It seems we haven't heard much from Stephen Miller lately, and I've been appreciating the respite from his constant presence, screaming on Fox News or complaining about not getting enough airtime on CNN. However, during what can only be described as a difficult period for him, Miller has decided to re-emerge with a series of complaints and what amounts to a public breakdown. This comes as Donald Trump appears to be overruling him, forcing concessions and broadly undermining his position. I want to discuss Miller's recent outburst as well as new reporting about his rival within the administration, Kristi Noem, who is facing her own challenges. But let's start with some genuinely welcome news. Donald Trump has conceded defeat in Minnesota.
Pam Bondi, she serves at the pleasure of the president and his administration, and those there are telling her, here's who you can prosecute. No, don't do this. I mean, they told her that the Epstein files, that fight to release the Epstein files came directly from President Trump. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with that, but that is the truth. He fought the hardest to stop these files from being released. And the only reason that he signed our bill that we passed in the House was because he had to. It became a massive political problem. Biggest political miscalculation in Donald Trump's career was calling this a hoax, fighting the release of it, and having Mike Johnson, the speaker, refuse to bring the bill to the floor, to the point where Thomas Massie, myself, Nancy Mason, Lauren Boebert actually had to vote with all of the Democrats to get it released.
Donald Trump claimed he was elected in 2024 on the strength of two issues: prices and immigration. Yet, as in his first term, Trump has delivered another failing economy and now finds himself, for the first time in his political career, deeply unpopular on immigration, not just underwater, but significantly so. The scale of this failure is remarkable, and Stephen Miller, perhaps the most calculating and unscrupulous figure in the administration, bears considerable responsibility for it. Now, as Democrats mount a fight over DHS funding, Miller, who has already suffered multiple setbacks in recent weeks, is having a meltdown on Twitter, predictably so.
The so-called Epstein victims who have received over $100 million.
So-called Epstein victims. We should call that out for what that is. That's a bullshit.
No, it's not. They are saying that they are Epstein victims and they have been paid. They can come out and say, no one is stopping them. I would welcome them. I would encourage them. Come out and tell us.
For you.
Dissolve your future? Stephen, isn't your boss systematically dismantling every piece of climate policy in existence? That sounds far more like dissolving my future than America not conforming to the white ethno-state you apparently envision. Stephen Miller is a racist ideologue who views everything through an incredibly narrow lens where everyone should resemble him. Why anyone would aspire to that is beyond comprehension. Your racist messaging isn't working, Stephen. Public opinion has shifted decisively against you. You failed to achieve the deportation numbers you wanted, failed to secure public support, and failed to maintain Donald Trump's backing. It's particularly ironic that Miller claims Democrats are shutting down the government, while simultaneously arguing that Democrats controlled the government under Joe Biden and are responsible for everything. Stephen, you currently control the government. If Democrats are somehow at fault, you're simply admitting your own weakness, and you are weak. They recognize their failure on this issue, so they're desperately trying to construct an alternative narrative. What they're struggling to grasp is that Trump's previous strategy of exploiting racist tropes, the caravans, the border rhetoric, worked to some degree because he maintained a polling advantage on immigration. That's no longer true. Trump is now, as I mentioned, historically unpopular on immigration. This situation continues to deteriorate as people learn more about the corruption and chaos within DHS, starting with Kristi Noem and the affair we've discussed extensively. Now, new reporting is revealing how much this dysfunction is costing taxpayers.
Journalist Aaron Parnas writes, "Scoop, the Department of Justice has sent over a letter to Congress outlining why it made redactions to the Epstein files. The 6-page letter also includes a list of all government officials and politically exposed persons in the files." And as you can see on the right, Donald Trump's name appears as one of those politically exposed individuals. Sincerely, Pam Bondi. Of course, Todd Blanche signs his name. Now, I think MeidasTouch had the perfect response to this. The DOJ continues to muddy the waters by combining names in the files of politically exposed persons who were actually involved with Epstein with random individuals who were mentioned in unrelated ways.
These people aren't just morally bankrupt, they're also recklessly irresponsible, and it's costing taxpayers millions of dollars. Kristi Noem isn't simply engaging in inappropriate behavior, she's doing so at public expense. These officials display contempt for the American people, and we should be clear about that. They genuinely disdain the citizens they're supposed to serve. We're going to hold them accountable every single day on this show. If you want to support that mission, please subscribe and like this video. If you've watched to the end, leave a blue heart in the comments. We'll continue calling out Kristi Noem and Stephen Miller for their failures and misconduct. Until next time, I'll see you soon.